First and foremost, Pete, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking this call. Super awesome of you to do that. You're probably working right out in the field right now. It looks like you were in a car, but just wanted to congratulate you on your initial success so far. I mean, you've just been a beast. No joke. I've been admiring your success so far because literally we started at the same exact day. But like, check this out: making 10K a month for like a lot of new people is going to be huge, like any first agents and stuff like that. But you did 40K your first 3 weeks. How different is that from what you've done so far in regards to work? And what steps did you take in this transition to go from 0 to 100 so quickly?
Yeah, no, great questions. Thank you so much for having me on too. I really appreciate it. I'm excited for us to get to have a conversation. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, my background is I've been in the world of entrepreneurship for the last several years, but most of that has been a train wreck. A lot of ups and downs. Probably the most stable thing that we've done was before this. Me and my wife started a business online, an online marketing and branding agency, and we've done that for the past 2 years. And so that crashed in November, and that's what kind of led to ending up here at FFL. I knew that I had to do something different. And I had to figure something out fast because we had money saved to get us basically through March of this year. And so end of February, that's when I reached out to Jamie Cheerio. He's my manager. And I had a past relationship with him. He had integrity. I trusted him. That's what made me so much more confident that this was real. It was hard to believe. I think for a lot of us, it's pretty unreal to see the numbers pop up for company averages and what you can issue pay and what part-time and full-time looks like. I mean, part-time is like full-time for a few months for most people's jobs. And so seeing those numbers, it doesn't seem real. We're too used to a world where anything that seems too good to be true has to be. And there's no possibility that it actually is what it looks like it is, right? But the question I started to ask a few years ago, we can't go anywhere, by the way, we gotta stay here. Oh, that's great. But the question that I started to ask myself a few years ago is, if I think every opportunity is too good to be true, when will I ever find a true opportunity? And so with FFL, I mean, I think for a lot of us coming into it, it's there's a lot of fear of failure. But the position I was in was I was more afraid of failing my family than I was of failing FFL. So I think I had a unique advantage getting started because I wasn't living with my bros, in our fake frat house. Everyone's just trying to find, the best website to buy a PS5 on. Like, I actually have a family. We have a second baby on the way. We have one who's already here.
What?
And I just knew I needed to figure something out for my family quickly. And so, I mean, to be honest, I rushed through the process, not because I was so antsy to get started with FFL that I didn't want to just slow down, but because I knew we weren't going to have the money to pay rent in April. So when I started training the beginning of March, I went through it as quickly as I could because I was afraid of not being able to take care of them. And we actually got, during our first week at FFL, we had an eviction notice come in, and we had until the 9th to pay our rent. And I'm so thankful that, the morning of the 9th was the first day that America paid us, a week and a half in. And so it didn't just pay us, it paid our rent 4 or 5 times over again. And
oh my God, that's insane.
It's just insane because, like, I guess for anyone who's on here, maybe getting started or pretty new, I don't know what your lead spend looks like and what kind of lead flow you've mapped out. But for me, I went into the CRM and I had $146 left in our bank account, and we didn't have enough to pay rent, but we knew $146 could buy us some leads. So I bought 50 6-month-old leads, and then I started dialing the next day. It was the last $146 we had. And from those leads, and it doesn't always work this way, but from those leads, I resolved every single one. I didn't have a choice. And it generated $6,000 worth of commissions, and from a $146 lead purchase. And I mean, I door knocked every single person that didn't answer the phone or who hung up on me, because I'm pretty sure I had like 40 out of 50 hang up on me. Once I actually got a hold of them, I didn't know what I was doing. So, I mean, to answer your question too, Bernard, like following up, like we've never seen this kind of money before. We've never been a part of anything where we could work this hard and see something like this for our family. It's been life-changing.
Wow. That's amazing. And actually you answered the next question that I had in mind, you know what I mean? Because like for me personally, dial day is probably the hardest part of this career for me. For me, it was harder to to get like just jump right into it, or even stay focused and not get so distracted during dial days? I mean, like it's that's the one that I'm working on the most. So I wanted to ask you specifically, what does dial days look like for you? How do you get started in the morning? How do you pump yourself up for it? What do you do to just jump right in and make sure to set those appointments?
I've been working on trying to get back into getting up early enough to where I can work out and get my mind right.
Oh, we're having a hard time connecting with you. Peter, can you hear me?
You know, I think you're not. Can you hear me?
Hey, Alex, is it breaking up for you too, or is it just for me?
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit. Let me just see. Hey, Peter, if you can hear me, let me know. But guys, let's just recap while Peter's reconnecting. Let's recap so far.
Yeah. I can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just coming real slow. Coming in.
Yeah, you want to? I think he should jump off and jump on, because it's actually got like this really weird like to it.
Yes.
But to recap what he said, guys, while he's rejoining us, you know, as you heard, he's never made this money before. He has no experience at all, zero experience at all. He has no clue anything about insurance. All he did was he needed to make it work. That's it. Oh, okay.
Hey, check it out. He said it's on his wife's phone.
Yeah,
let's see it.
Where's he at? What's her name?
Sierra.
Oh, there it is.
Sierra.
Okay, she's being promoted. Make co-host. Maybe she can hop and join us at episode 2. What's going on?
Maybe she'll give us all the points. Is that better?
Yep.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, this is where Sierra is way ahead of me. She has Verizon and I have T-Mobile, and sometimes that's the problem.
Gotcha,
All right.
gotcha.
I'm gonna try to change my name, but anyways, yeah.
So what does dial day look like for you? Like, yeah. What is from the morning when you wake up, when you get ready for that day? What does it look like?
Yeah, great question. I've been working on just starting my dials at 7:30. There's been days where that didn't happen, and here's the thing: is every single part of the system that we've been told in this world of a family first is not to pump you up or to maybe get you results. None of it's theory, all of it's facts. And starting dial day at 7:30 is, I mean, it's everything, no matter where you live. There's something that happens when you say you're going to start at 7:30 and you start at 7:40. You just don't take yourself as seriously. And so that's been one of the biggest things that I focus on, is starting at 7:30. And for me personally, I know my mind is in its sharpest when I'm able to work out or do something active in the morning. And so I'm really just working on trying to follow that system. I mean, the people who say, Hall of Fame producers, get up at 4:30, get up at 5 at the latest. It sounded ridiculous to me at first. And then I realized you need that time to get your mind right. You should get active. You should be able to sit down by 7 a.m. and make sure that your leads are already purchased and you're just organizing them in a Google Sheet, getting everything set up. I don't have any crazy routine. I don't tune into some Tony Robbins videos on YouTube and then, scream at myself and then get started. I just try to sit down by 7. I get my leads in order. I organize them by zip code. That way I can call from closest to furthest from me. And I try to start dialing, at 7:30 on the dot. Because I know it sets you up for success. It really does.
Wow, I actually love that, because taking yourself seriously and stuff like that. I take myself seriously in a lot of things, but you know what? That's probably one of the big things that I'm going to take into this, because so far I've scheduled it for 8 o'clock, right? Dial day starts at 8 o'clock. I heard a lot of people talk about the 7:30, but here's the thing: even on the 8 o'clock, I start at 8:05, 8:06. But that I'm definitely going to take that to heart, man, and be like 7:59, let's go, or at this case 7:29. You know what I mean? But I got another question here. It goes, regarding your lead flow. Like you said, your first interview said $200, and you turned that into $40K. You said it was 100 what 60 for in your bank?
$146.
$146 in your bank account, and you turned that into 40K for that first month. Like you said, it turned into $6,000 on the first thing. But what does your lead flow look like for you now? Like, what do you do? How do you invest in your leads?
Yep, I get all the secret leads from Sean Mike himself, and all the super high level leads. They're like the
Whatever,
$500.
shut.
They're like a $500 piece. I get a kick out of it whenever someone says something like that. When Grady's interviewing someone, he's like,
Right.
"Hey, you got the special leads, right?" So my lead flow has been pretty much the same for the past 6 weeks since I started. Maybe it's just me not getting out of my comfort zone. Maybe it's just me doing what's actually working. I've been running instance and news from the CRM. Really anything I can get in the CRM. In my area, I haven't seen 3 or 6 months since we started. So I've been doing old mortgage, old final expense, age final expense mailers, 2-month-old final expense. But anything I can get in the CRM local to me out here in Albuquerque. And then the only other thing I've been doing has been game time leads. And other than that, I locked out the county for BPL leads, but they haven't come in yet. So I've been running game time and instance and new.
And you're doing those kinds of numbers. So that just means that, all leads are good, man. It's just how you work them. And that's super phenomenal, man. So here, I don't know. Let me read this real quick because I wanted to make sure to write notes so that I didn't miss out on anything, especially once you started talking. That was going to throw me off. I'm about to make sure to ask him some of these questions. Now, I believe it was your first interview, which I think everybody needs to watch, by the way. Like, seriously, if you're on this call, make sure to check that out. You talk about your in-home agenda like perfectly. So I'm not going to ask you to do that again here, but I want everybody to go in there. But when you first started, because I know a lot of new agents, including myself, had a lot of fear the first day to go into somebody's home for the first time. What did you do to get your mindset right? Like, I mean, how did you actually jump through that? Because it's not like you went slowly, okay? You didn't go from, having to start these calls, making a few calls, and then hopefully get some appointments, and then those few appointments, like hopefully be able to close some. I mean, you jumped from like here to like through the roof instantly. So how did you break through those fears for your first in-home appointments and stuff like that?
Yeah. Fear's a tricky thing. I mean, all of us are afraid of something. And, it's crazy. You think back to when you're a kid and you're afraid of the dark, you're afraid of the monster under your bed. And it was perfectly rational in the moment. And then you're an adult and now your fears have changed, but they're still just as real for you. And maybe one day you'll look back and you'll have enough courage to say that fear wasn't legitimate, but in the moment it was. I think this business is no different than that. I think if you start with just the awareness that you're afraid of something that one day you won't be, that is going to set you up for success because you'll realize that you are just not bigger than the moment you're in right now. And one day you will be, and you'll be better because of that. You'll be strong enough to look at that and say, I'm not afraid of that anymore. So with in-home, I mean, I'm an incredibly introverted person. We're all introverted in the midst of COVID. Like, we don't know how to do human interactions anymore. It was super scary, but I think like the decision I encourage anyone on here to make would be every time you feel afraid of something, but it's what's best for you, or it's what you need to do, is just to step forward when you feel like stepping back. Because every time you make that decision, you're going to become stronger the next time. You'll trust yourself more. You'll realize you're braver than you thought you were. It'll stretch you. And so like the first day I had 8 appointments booked. And I just remember, I'm sure there's a lot of people on here who have felt this way. I booked the 8 appointments the day before, booked 8 for Tuesday, booked 7 for Wednesday. I mean, it was exactly what I was told to do. Book 15 for the next 2 days. It's like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, this is amazing. I have 8 appointments tomorrow. I have 8 appointments tomorrow. Oh no. Oh no. What do I do? I was like, I don't want to go to any of them. I'll do one. I'll do one. I just need to get back. Shoot, how do I get back to boot camp tonight before I go to this appointment? And it was just terrifying. But a couple of things really helped me. And here's some really practical things for everyone is think about what we do and think about who you just called and think about the appointment that you set up. These are all warm leads. Every single person has requested life insurance, and whether they forgot that they sent in the request, or they're angry about it, or they decided they're not interested anymore, if you booked the appointment, you've been trusted enough to be invited over, and in that situation, you are completely the authority. You're there to answer their request. You're there to meet their needs. You don't have to walk in thinking, how am I going to sell this vacuum cleaner? Like, this is something that they requested. So having that confidence, I mean, sometimes you do got to fake it till you make it. I walked in, I'm like, I got to remember I'm in the authority, and let's start with some small things. I'll walk them to the table. I'll ask them if I should take my shoes off, if they prefer that. And then I'll start the conversation to decrease sales pressure and increase credibility. And that's really all I did in the beginning. And it's like, I'm just going to be confident for the first 2 minutes. And then on the next appointment, I'll try to be confident for 3 minutes. So the biggest thing is, like, if you can just get through the financial inventory and you can just lead the conversation the entire time in the beginning, then when you get to that moment where you have no idea what to do next, you call your manager. And you're
Did you call them every single time?
Every time. And I thought to myself, Jamie, if you don't pick up, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will run out of this house, calling Jamie, looking over, where's the door again? Oh yeah, it's right over there. Great. He picked up every single time though. I've had the best support system. And the thing about these in-home calls that some people don't understand is that if you just have the trust and the faith to get through the part of the process that you're supposed to know from day one, which is just getting through the financial inventory, then when you get to the in-home call, if you have the right leadership, which almost every single one of us does, every single person on this call does.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely.
You guys have some of the best leaders in the game, and they're not just going to tell you what product to write, Americo Eagle Premier, and then hang up the phone. They're going to tell you what to say, how to go through it, especially if you're a new agent. And that was one of the biggest things for me is Jamie was like, hey, you need to do this, you need to say this, and you need to say this. Don't ever call me again and say this person's really, really healthy. We don't say that. And so I'm like getting reprimanded on the phone. I'm like, yep, absolutely. Yes. Volume's like half down. And then I learned from Alexander Straight. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like the last thing I say before I hang up the phone.
Right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you. And I turned to them and I'm like, what was the product he just said? We're going to go with Americo Eagle Premier. And
right.
It's like, you just start filling out my first 3 appointments, I asked them every medical question again, didn't realize that on the financial inventory, we'd already gone through those questions. And so I'm like, have you ever had a heart attack? Have you ever had a stroke? So, you just gotta be okay with looking foolish in the beginning. You'll get better. But yeah, no, I think confidence, even if it's fake, that's where you have to start with, because posture is everything. And once we get better, we'll learn that, posture is everything. They're not going to take us seriously if we don't take ourselves seriously. They're not going to give us the voided check if we're terrified about getting the voided check.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's so awesome. And how old are you? You're 23, right?
Yeah.
And you're about to turn 24 really soon. Happy birthday, by the way. Right? Am I correct?
Yeah. A couple of days.
Okay. Awesome. Well, so check this out. How did you end off the month of April?
How did I end the month?
Yeah, how did you end the month? Because the one that I saw, you did 40K in the first 3 weeks.
I did 58 and issue paid a little over 39, almost 40.
Whew. 58 on your first month. And congratulations, by the way, you did what, a little over 13K on your first week in May already?
Yep, I'm just over 30 grand written this month. So I'm going for trying to do 60, close to 70 if I can this month. Gonna go on a travel trip to San Diego this next weekend. So just trying to up it each month. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's insanity. I mean, it took me my first 3 weeks to do a little over 13, my full 3 weeks to do that. Then I got COVID and I was out for 2.5 weeks. It was insane. I was like, I wanted to hit 20. My goal was 20. You know what I mean? I didn't have these crazy, like super big goals for my first month. I just wanted to hit 20. And then I got COVID. And then finally I just came back last week. And so far I've done 6 for this week.
Awesome.
But I want to hit the 10K mark on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? And you've been doing that since you started. And I mean, and just increasing and constantly increasing. What advice do you have for me and for everybody listening on this call right now on how to be a 10K a week producer, not a month, a week.
Yeah. When I first started, I was listening to the FFL, USA podcast, and I heard people like Easton Patton and Zach Tardowski and these average AP numbers, and it's like, wow, these guys. I mean, how do you get your average, annual premium in the house to be $3,000-$4,000 if the average is like $1,200? What I didn't realize is that I live in Albuquerque. New Mexico is the 49th poorest state in the nation. And so 9 out of 10 families I'm sitting with are on Social Security, make less than $1,000 a month. And so my average is like maybe 500, maybe a $500 annual premium. So I'm not writing big business. I'm just having a high app count at the end of the week. And the way that that's happening right now is just by following the system and trying to take boot camp seriously. So, boot camp is 20 hours worth of videos. We all have access to a boot camp, and nothing that we're told in there is fake. If you follow that system, I mean, I heard top producers run 30 to 40 appointments a week. So that's what I've been shooting for every week. And I think the biggest piece of advice I would have is if you're full-time here, then actually be full-time. And don't be full-time like the way you've been full-time the rest of your life. Be full-time in a way that full-time means I will work as long as I need to, as much as I need to, until I get the appointments that I need. And if I don't get the appointments that I need, then I'm going to door knock in between appointments. And it almost feels like a punishment to me. I don't want to door knock. I want to go to my appointment. And if my appointment's a no-show, then I want to be able to dial for the next day because I already have so many appointments. Or I want to go, door knock for a minute. But activity is everything. And so I tracked my hours my first month. Just to be honest, I spent about 85 hours a week working on this.
Wow.
I didn't really see much of my family. I don't know if I've ever put that time into anything, but it wasn't about, oh, okay, I hit 40 hours, time to clock out. Like, this is your own business. And, if you've never been in that situation before, then all of this might be a shock, but you have to put in the time. And just like anything else in life, if you're a novice, if you're brand new, you're going to have to put in more time than anyone else is going to have to, because you're the most ineffective you'll ever be out in the field. You're the worst you'll ever be at this, but that should be a good thing because you can only get better from here. So I think the biggest thing is don't do the activity on the clock, do the activity regardless of what numbers on the clock until you get the numbers you're looking for, and be resourceful. Wow. I think resourceful in and of itself, resourcefulness is like currency in this business. It's like next to the commissions coming in, that will be really like one of the biggest things that pays you is like, be resourceful. If you have a no-show, if you get porched, right? If someone leaves you on the porch and they don't let you in their house, I mean, go and door knock, go and do whatever it takes to be active and do those activities that we know will in the end make us money and help us protect families. Because this whole like, oh, I don't have an appointment for 2 hours, I'll go home for a minute, or I'm going to catch up with some friends. I mean, for me, it's just been like, whatever it takes and do it scared. Like, do it scared for now. And then eventually you won't do it scared. Sometimes just for me, I want to get things over with. Like they said, get through your first 100 appointments as fast as you can. And I'm like, okay, I'll just close my eyes for 100 appointments. Like how fast can I do this? So I hit 100 appointments, I think the first week of May. So I did it in 5 weeks. I don't know if that's good or bad. I wanted to get it over with as fast as possible, be in 100 homes as fast as possible, because ultimately, as much as the videos and the trainings can teach us, it's the experience of actually going out there and being involved emotionally and being in different homes and reflection. I mean, next to resourcefulness, I think reflection is everything. Get in your car, and every time you get in your car, if you're not getting on the phone with your manager for a specific question, like just think to yourself, what went well, what was awkward in there? Where did I drop the ball? Where did I lose that person? You have so much more awareness than you know. You have so much more understanding than you know. Just think back to what just happened. And if there's any inclination in your mind that someone else that is a leader to you could have closed that deal, call them and ask them what they would have done differently. That's one of the biggest things I did. I got out of the home and like Jamie would have protected both family members. He would have put Moo Accidental in place. He would have put Eagle Premier on both of their lives. Why didn't I? it's because I didn't have the skill set or I didn't have the courage to ask the right questions. I don't know.
Right.
So I'd call and I'd ask. And I just think if you're a sponge, you can shorten the learning curve. Like I've always been obsessed with the idea of learning from other people's experiences, because if someone else has done it in 6 months, I want to learn how to do it in 3 months. And I know the best person to teach me how to do that probably is them, because they'll tell me all the mistakes they made, and then I can try to avoid as many of those as much as possible. And so I think resourcefulness, is so important, reflection. And then ultimately the third thing would be resiliency. Most of us can like look at people in our lives and say, wow, like that person is so fragile. Like the world's against them. They're a victim, and that's the person that comes into this business and says, I got a bad batch of leads this week. I just live in a rough area. People are rude here. If I was in Canada, this would work. Everyone's friendly, whatever.
Right. All the
and
excuses.
it's like, I have bad leadership. The videos aren't enough. It's like, you can make so many excuses, or you can just go out there and you can make money. But resiliency is the opposite of that. It's like the person, everyone knows someone like this, or you are this person. It's the person that has the craziest stories, and they've been through so many hardships, and their life just seems like they should have already given up on it, and they seem stronger today than they were yesterday. It's like no matter what they go through, it seems like they're always building, they're always learning, they're always growing. Like a resilient person is someone who doesn't only not give up, but regardless of their circumstances, everything that they're going through is refining them. And if you make the decision to be someone who is resilient, then nothing in your life will ever be able to take away your freedom to go and create the future that you want. And the future that you want can only be built by you. I mean, ultimately, if you don't believe that you can build a future, then you'll never take the action to actually go out there and do that. And that's what Family First Life gives us. It gives us the opportunity to build a future that we never could have imagined before. And so you are literally creating out of the invisible. I mean, that's what human beings do. It's like we imagine a world better than the one that exists right now, and then we go and we try to make that a reality. And most of us have never been in a financial situation that FFL can put us in. We've never been in the leadership position that this could put us in. We've never had this much responsibility. And if you've never done that before, then, I mean, to even go out there and accomplish it, you have to believe that it's possible, even if you've never seen that happen in your life. You have to believe that you could become someone you've never been before. And then maybe that person is better than you are right now. And I think like our skill set will catch up with that. But in the beginning, like, maybe you take belief from your manager, maybe you take belief from your leaders, but eventually you got to believe it for yourself. One of the best ways to build belief is to go out there and to get the results, and just to go put in the action, even if you're not good at it. It's okay to look foolish. It's okay to be a novice in something. It's okay to be an amateur, but eventually, like, you'll gain the skill set, and that's the story you want. Like,
right.
No one relates to the guy that's just like, oh yeah, like, it just worked out from day one. This has always been easy. Like, everyone can relate to the person who's like, yeah, most of my life, like, it's been hard for me stepping into something brand new. And so I just think that that's super important. And the last thing I would say, I know this is a lot, the last thing that's just been super important for me is like, I cared about taking care of my family, but number two, I cared about having a story that mattered. And you're only going to get your first 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, first year. You're only going to get that one time. If you're telling someone to go write 40K their first month and you wrote, 5, then there's no conviction behind what you say. And then if the dreaded question ever comes, hey, what did you do your first month? You're gonna have to tell them the truth. Oh, I did 5K, but things are different now. You can do 40. It's like, it's so hard to tell someone how to do something you've never done before. And,
right. Thank you.
Hold
on real quick. Thank you for saying 5K, because, I didn't hit the 20 that I wanted to hit. So I was like, obviously COVID is not an excuse, but it's actually going to be able to be something that I'm going to be able to tell everybody, hey, look, even in the facing this, it's still something that I can overcome and increase as I go along. You know what I mean? But thank you for
totally. And that's not even your real like first month. I mean, and that's the thing is like, a lot of times we have the New Year's resolution philosophy. It's February. We already stopped going to the gym and eating healthy. And we're like,
right, 2022
is my year. You know what I mean? It's like reset today. If any of this resonates with you and you've been here for a couple of months, but you haven't actually gone all in yet, then make today day one of month one, right, and create a new story for yourself. But for a lot of us, I
love that.
What holds us back so oftentimes is that we're afraid to go all in, because it's like, what if I don't know how to swim as well as I thought? What if I drown? But it's like, what if you don't? What if you swim further than you've ever swam before? Like, you have to go all in, because most of us have never gone all in on anything.
Right.
And so when you make the decision, I'm going to give everything I have, you'll come to one powerful realization that'll change your life. I had more to give than I thought I had. That in and of itself. Oh, wow. I was stronger than I thought I was. I can go with less sleep than I thought I could. I'm more resilient than I thought I was. I have more courage than I thought I had. You know, when I stepped in that home and I was terrified, and then I came out the other end and I'm still here. You know, when that person asked me, that client asked me that dreaded question I didn't know the answer to, and I was just completely honest with them and said, let me find an answer for you. I don't know. It's like, there's just so many things that we assume that we can't do it. But then if we just went all in and did it, we'd realize we actually could do that. And it was just our own mindset holding us back.
So last questions. I got two more for you before we go, because I don't want to take up too much of your Sunday, especially. So thank you for taking this time. But somebody mentioned in the comments, they were like, love this guy's mindset and attitude. The craziest thing is, I mean, like, you're 23 years old right now. I'm 42 now. I mean, when I was 23, I was still a meth addict. I'm celebrating 15 years of sobriety now.
Wow,
and,
that's amazing.
You know what I mean? So yeah, but you're 23. What have you gone through in life that has made you so, like, I mean, you've got a ton of wisdom and such a great, what's the word I'm looking for, foundation in your mindset and everything like that. Hence why you're able to crush something like this so quickly. What did you go through in life that put you in that position? If you don't mind sharing. If it's something that you don't want to share, then, you know.
Yeah. I think that's something I'm still trying to figure out. I started playing sports in 6th grade. I was homeschooled up through 5th grade. And I was terrible. I was really uncoordinated. I was the worst on my team. I was the tallest guy, and I didn't know what I was doing. And all the way through high school, like, I was an okay athlete. I was never great. School, I was an average student. I feel like for most of my life, I felt incredibly average in everything that I did. And then I have a terrible, it's non-existent at this point. I have a terrible relationship with my dad, but he was also like, so many things that he said still ring through my mind about not being able to have what it takes. He would always tell us, he'd tell me and my brothers, you guys have what it takes. And the next day he'd be like, actually you don't. And we heard that so much more often. And so when I first got into, like, the world of entrepreneurship, it was more about, like, proving other people wrong than it was about proving myself right. But I think so many of the lies that I told myself for so long, I think I have a lot of clarity and a lot of freedom on in the last few years of life. And it's been breaking through those that I think has been incredibly empowering and incredibly encouraging. On a really, really personal level, I mean, just to be completely honest, 4 years ago, I went through a moment that shook my life up pretty hard. I went from really putting all my belief and my trust in myself, and not really sure what I believed about, faith and religion and all of that, to coming to this understanding that there was a God who loved me, and that transformed into just an understanding that I am so much more than the person I thought I was for so much of my life, for 19 years. And it goes so much deeper than mindset. For me, it's what's going on inside of my soul. So it's a hard thing to kind of try to translate, because it's a mix of things. It's like our personal experiences have informed us of who we are. The people that you've spent most of your life around have told you who you are. And if there's no voice speaking louder than your family and your friends, then you are the sum of what everyone has told you. And for the first time ever, I've just had, I've had God himself, like, telling me who I really am over the past few years. And it's redefined a lot of things for me. It really has. So I don't really know what else to say besides that.
That was like perfect. You couldn't, and that was so real. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that. I mean, outside of God's grace, bro, I'd still be a meth addict. So I totally resonated with that.
I believe you. I mean, every single person wants to be a better human being. Every single one of us, like, we don't even know where it comes from. school doesn't train you on it. Books don't necessarily teach it. I just wanted to be a better person a few years ago. I didn't like the way I dealt with people. I didn't like the way I engaged in relationships. And I read a lot of self-help books. And I honestly can't say that was the answer. You know, going and seeing Bernie Burchard live and Tony Robbins and going to conferences and all this stuff like that, that didn't change my life. It was a relationship with Jesus. And then outside of that, I mean, it's a personal decision that like, there are a lot of people who believe in God who are still miserable. So, I mean, I think you just have to make the decision that like, whatever you believed about yourself thus far, what if it wasn't true? What if there was more to you than you thought? What if you're capable more than you thought? Human beings are extraordinary. We've been responsible for some of the greatest devastations the world's ever seen. We're capable of mass genocides, and we're also capable of creating a world that's never existed before that can change the course of human history. So it's like, what part of history are you going to be a part of when they write the books about this coming age, 2020? And it's like, I want to be a part of the group of people that change the world for the better. So I think the opportunity we have with Family First Life, I know we're going on so many random tangents, but like the opportunity we have here is to create freedom for ourselves and in making little decisions each day to make someone else more free. Because helping someone get life insurance in place and coverage and protection for their family is putting them at ease. It's bringing peace into their lives, and it's guaranteeing that their family has a future even without them, a future that might have died with that spouse, with that father, with that family member. It's like my dad is dead, and now we have no money, and we can't even keep our house. I mean, think about the responsibility we have when we're stepping into people's homes about their procrastination could actually change the course of what their lives look like in the future. So we're creating freedom in other people's lives, and we're also trying to create freedom in our own. And whether you're single or you have a family, once you have financial freedom, I am convinced that you will not have the same concerns that you might have in the present moment, because all of a sudden you're not thinking, how am I going to pay that credit card payment? How am I going to make rent happen? That's like the concerns that me and my wife didn't want to have. We didn't want to have to think, how are we going to get groceries this week? And it's not about buying a yacht. It's about not having to think about the little decisions each day that distract you from actually being able to do something bigger than just you. So many of us were wrapped in up in our own world because we can't help it. We are so concerned about our own circumstances. How could we ever think about someone else's? And Family First Life is giving us the opportunity and the financial freedom to create a life that you could have never imagined before, so that you can go out there and you can actually change someone else's and not have to worry about your own.
Man, this was an amazing interview. Just listening to you, bro. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you just shared. Bro, I don't even know what to say to end this. Thank you so much. And for everybody else out there, like really watching this, man, it is possible for every one of us, you know what I mean, to be able to achieve and find that financial freedom. Because if you're not worried about all the little things and all the crazy stuff like that shouldn't be in the forefront, you actually can take the time to work on yourself, to find yourself, to discover yourself, and then be able to love and care for others in a way that, when you're no longer distracted by all that. That's phenomenal, bro. So thank you so much for spending this Sunday with us. God bless. And man, just thank you.
You were totally made for this, Bernard. You're going to have the best 90-day story, and I'm so excited. It's just getting started. We got started at the exact same time, and thank you so much for trusting me enough to have this conversation together. It's been awesome just getting to share this time with you.